कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि.
Introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Anjali Gopalan with the NAS Foundation, which is an HIV/AIDS service organization. Sadhguru, recently I have read about Muthamma, this really poor tribal woman who's taken on the Isha Foundation to get back her land, which she claims Isha Foundation has usurped, and the land for over 400 other tribal families. Is there any chance that the Isha Foundation would return that land to the tribal people?
If I had it, I would have.
But the Isha Foundation has, and there's documented evidence.
No. Please, there's no documented evidence or any kind of evidence. There are some people who should be pulp fiction writers who claim to be journalists right now, unfortunately. Okay? You are most welcome to come and examine everything that you want to. These people should be writing pulp fiction, but they claim to be journalists. Unfortunately, as she was talking about some spiritual leaders being corrupt, certain journalists have taken to blackmail, okay? Right now, any journalist or anybody is free to come and investigate the entire process. If there is an inch of land, just an inch of land taken from anybody, I will leave the country. Is that good enough? Inch.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Biraj Patnaik, and thank you for talking about the environment and inspiring young people. I think that's very, very important today, and that's a role we wish more people did. You just spoke about pulp fiction and journalists, but what about the Tamil Nadu government, which has filed an affidavit in the High Court clearly stating and showing the violations, environmental violations and construction violations of your foundation on the land, the blocking of the elephant corridor. Leading to the situation where Justice Haripratnam, as you know, appealed to the Prime Minister not to go to the foundation because of these illegal activities.
Yes.
Surely the Tamil Nadu government filing an affidavit in a High Court is not a work of fiction, Sadhguru.
All right. Now, if there was substance to that, you think the Prime Minister would make the trip? Have some sense about what we are talking about, okay? If you have invested yourself in something already and you have to say these things, you're free to say it. But 1,000 times World Wildlife Fund, Tamil Nadu Forest Departments and the Environmental Ministry, everybody has said there is no elephant corridor in the region, anywhere within 100 miles. And you go on inventing an elephant corridor which doesn't exist, what can I do? About the Tamil Nadu government's affidavit, Tamil Nadu government's forest department has clearly stated in the High Court that this is not an elephant corridor and not an inch of land has been taken by the foundation. If this is not good enough, somebody goes on filing an affidavit. I will tell you, they said we have chopped off an entire rainforest. So we produced the Google Maps of 2002, 2008, 2010, 2016 and 2017. Not a single tree has been taken out. Now you don't open your mouth on that. Why? You said entire forest has been taken out. Look at the Google Maps. Today there is technology, you can't sell your lies forever. Some of you believe if you utter a lie 100 times, it will become a truth. It will not.
Okay, we've got a question at the front here.
Sadhguruji, namaste. So I think the work we do with our firm is kind of infringing with your inner engineering because we are trying to potentially put 3D printed organs into people. So that's again inner engineering, giving someone a new life. So again, to keep it serious, sir, my question is on the lines of the work you're doing with Rally for Rivers and again steering up the Indian youth's enthusiasm to kind of go out there and create positive change. where do you see this going forward? Now it's Rally for Rivers. Do you see yourself being an advocate for much bigger changes? And do you see yourself as being someone as a change maker who can drive the Indian youth towards creating positive change in this country?
I'm interested in you, whether you're young or old, okay? Not just for the youth. About Rally for Rivers, we have presented a draft policy recommendation to the government. Now it is going to the state governments. We have put it online for the media and others, and we are also sending it to all the top environmentalists in the world, in case they can contribute something. But the important part is, largely, all the states have agreed upon the policy. This was the biggest hurdle, because it's a concurrent subject between the center and the state. And they could never get the states to agree because there are various political parties. Now all the political parties, we brought them to concurrence, that they have agreed to how the river should be treated as such, which is a major step, because concurrence has come. This makes it easy for the central government to go about the policy. It will definitely become a policy in a short while. When it will become a law may take some time, because there are many social and other kinds of complexities in implementing this. But we want to set up large-scale modules which are economically successful to prove to the farmers this new way that we're talking about will work out to their advantage. Without setting up an economic success, we don't want to push it. Once it's an economic success, I think it'll go like a revolution by itself.
Great. Yeah, two here.
Sadhguru, thank you for sharing with us all your thoughts. I just want to ask you a very fundamental question. Some of us, and I'm from the Global Shapers community with the World Economic Forum, so we've been selected because we are interested in making an impact in the world and in the communities. So why is it that some people feel this way and other people don't feel this way? I've always struggled with trying to identify why is it that I have this kind of responsibility towards my country and my community, and some people just do not seem to have it. So does the upbringing, the schooling, the education have something to do with it, and how can we inculcate this feeling in everybody?
Definitely there are many influences, but the most fundamental thing that we need to understand is, as I was telling
Yelda.
is it's a question of identity. What are you identified with? If you're identified just with yourself, then naturally your intelligence will function only for the well-being of this one. If you're identified with your family, your intelligence will function for the well-being of your family. If you're identified with the community, it works for that. If you're identified with the nation, it works for that. If you're identified with the entire life on this planet, it works for that. So this is the nature of human intellect. Whatever you're identified with, that's what it works for. One thing that's happened with modern education is, we are only focusing on the development of the intellect. The other dimensions of intelligence are completely neglected. When I say other dimensions, in the yogic way of looking at things, we look at human mind as 16 parts. They can be seen as 4 segments. This is called buddhi, ahankara, manas and chitta. Buddhi means the intellect. Right now, entire modern education is totally intellect-oriented. Would you like your intellect to be sharp or dull? Sharp. So essentially, intellect is a cutting instrument, it's like a knife. It's all right to use a knife to cut something. So right now you want to stitch something, if you use a knife, you leave it in tatters. This is what is happening to modern human being, because the only part of intelligence that they're employing is their intellect. They're trying to do everything with their knife. If you try to do everything with your knife, obviously you're going to cut yourself into pieces. As you get hurt, you will fix smaller and smaller boundaries for yourself. You step out into the world, if something hurts you, you put one boundary. Something else hurts you, you put one more boundary. If you get hurt within the family, you will make a much smaller boundary. So because you're employing only the intellect part of the intelligence, it's very important, the future generations at least, human intelligence has to be brought up in an equitable way so that the other dimensions of intelligence function. Only when they function will they be able to think of a larger identity. Otherwise, naturally, it's about me and me alone. So in this, you do very small things. You do very small things to yourself and ugly things to yourself, because one thing that a human being suffers most is being trapped. The trap need not necessarily be because somebody locked you up. The trap can be just in your own mind. And people immensely suffer that. This is the transition you're seeing. When you are 5 years of age, your face was like this, slowly it becomes like this. You think you have grown up. No. At 5, if you were so joyful, at 30 you should have become ecstatic, isn't it? But just the reverse is happening simply because intellect is the only dimension of intelligence you're using. You're trying to understand everything by cutting it open. If I want to know you, should I dissect you? But that's what you're doing in your mind, isn't it? Whatever you want to know, you dissect it with your intellect. You can know some aspects. I can know your liver, kidney, spleen by dissecting you, but I will not know you as a human being. So this is something we have to focus on in our education systems.
Yeah.
Hello. Sadhguru, I've always wanted to ask this question, and then today I've got this opportunity. It's a very basic question, but yeah, we've always been told that, everything is pre-decided in our fate, and then it's all about luck. So I always keep arguing with my mom that, I have to take risks, I have to become a big entrepreneur. She says, no, everything is pre-written. So what is in our control and what is not in our control? It is always confusing. So do we just let things go to happen, or keep struggling and then make things happen? It's very confusing, Sadhguru. Please guide us.
If you're making something happen, why should you struggle?
But some things that really do not work in our favor, we keep really… if I have to give… By taking a risk, I would like to give an example. Like for example, if we see Mark Zuckerberg's life story or Bill Gates' life story, it all began with so much of controversies, and all that. But at the end, they have really landed successful, and now they're doing well. So when we really see stories like this, it confuses us. What part do we follow, and then do we be honest or just keep doing or following things the way things come?
There are many complexities in the question, please sit down. I don't know where the honesty came into this and why it came to question. Anyway, see, if you take charge of your physical body, if you have some mastery over your physical body, about 15 to 20% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. If you take charge of your intelligence, 50 to 60% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. If you take charge of your very life energy within you, 100% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. The question is only, have you taken charge of this? The problem is you're trying to take charge of the world. No, you have to enhance this. If this is enhanced, the activity you perform is naturally enhanced. This is like, there is a Buddh circuit here. The F1 circuit is here in Delhi. You are on the Formula 1 track with your old Maruti 800. If you hit 300 kilometers per hour, all four wheels will fly in 4 different directions. If you want to be on a F1 track, you must have a reasonably good machine which can take it. So the important thing is you must enhance this one, but you're trying to enhance activity. If you enhance activity without enhancing this one, this will break up. This is what a lot of people are doing to themselves. But if you focus on enhancing this, you will take activity in your stride effortlessly. then you will see creating something is not a struggle.
I interviewed Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, who's born in India, last week. And I said to him, the top 9 CEOs in the world are all Indian. Why are they all leaving the country? Why aren't we seeing a Microsoft or a Google being created here in this environment?
Because in this country, we still have a socialist backlog. There are some people like this who raised their hands in the beginning, who doesn't like anything to succeed. If anything succeeds, they will go against it. Anything doing well, they don't like it. People are happy, they don't like it. So people go out and thrive.
So should there be a Google or a Microsoft here in India?
I'm sure it's bound to happen because the time for Google and Microsoft is past. Something new has to come up, I'm sure it will come up.
I'll take some more questions if there are. Yep, just the lady in the back.
Namaste Sadhguru, my name is Nina Claire and I'm in Business World. And I was just wondering that this inner engineering program that you're talking about, can it help people with psychological problems as well? Already manifested problems?
See, it depends. Psychological problems are not as simple as, it's not black and white. There are too many shades in between. So, all psychological problems cannot go under one banner. It is… every individual psychological problem is very unique. If there is no one solution for all of them, some of them are pathologically embedded in their system, which is not easy to handle. Many are induced because of the situations and the challenges that they face in their life. Those can be easily turned around. People who have become psychologically imbalanced because of situational pressures upon them, we can definitely turn them around. But those who are pathologically so, it's not easy. We can give them some relief, but will it be all fixed? That would be an empty promise.
We spoke about ambition earlier, and you're talking now about anxieties and disorders and psychological issues. Do you think with the drive of ambition, more people are developing depression, anxiety, mental health issues?
See, I personally don't like the word ambition because in a certain way, you're trying to impose your will upon the world. You want to be something and you want the world to cooperate to make you that something. If we transform ourselves from ambition to a larger vision, we can do the same thing very joyfully. Still, we will become who we become depending upon our capabilities, but we can do it joyfully with a great sense of fulfillment rather than crushing ourselves to become something. I keep telling people, most people are trying, they're killing themselves to live. To live, you don't have to kill yourself. If you have to do this life joyfully, it's very important that you have invested yourself in a vision to create something rather than ambition to become something.
There's just a question right there.
Hi Sadhguru, Namaste. I'm Simarpreet Singh, Global Shaper from Chandigarh. I was reading Isha Foundation's blog and there is this one article, the heading is Sadhguru's enlightenment in his own words. So I want to know, according to you, what is enlightenment and how can other people be enlightened beings, as you have mentioned your experience of getting enlightened. Can you tell us about that? Thank you.
The blog didn't tell you.
He couldn't figure it out from the blog.
Let me put it technically, because there are so many glorious explanations about what it is. As I was speaking earlier, see, when you sit here, your experience of yourself is largely physical, isn't it? If somebody next to you pokes you, Will you say, don't poke my body, or will you say, don't poke me? Don't poke me, isn't it? Because your experience of the body is myself. But is it true, this body is something that you accumulated over a period of time? Yes? What you accumulate can be yours, can never ever be you, isn't it? Whatever you accumulate, it can be yours, it can never ever be you. Right now, as I'm speaking, I say, this is my cup. You will think, oh, Sadhguru has some problems. But let's listen some more because everybody says he's wise. After some time I said, this is me. Then you'll say, let's go. Because this is sheer madness, isn't it? Something that you acquired, you think is you, isn't that madness? So right now, that is the madness. What you accumulated, you think it's me. The day you're free of this madness, we will say you're enlightened. Experientially, not intellectually.
It's quite difficult to get to that stage, you would know.
It is not difficult, it is just that it's in a different direction than the way you're looking right now. When I say the way you're looking right now, can you see me?
Yes.
Use one hand and point out where I am. You got it wrong, Elder.
Are you everywhere? Is that what
No,
you're trying to say?
This light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina, you know the whole story. So where do you see me now? Within yourself.
Yeah,
Where do you hear me right now?
within myself.
Within yourself. Where did you see the whole world? Within yourself. Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? Your pains and pleasures happen within you. Your joy and misery happen within you. Your agony and ecstasy happen within you. Even light and darkness is only happening within you, isn't it?
But what about the pain that others inflict on one another and the suffering?
When was the last time somebody poked you with a dagger?
I was actually in Mosul 3 weeks ago and I saw a lot of people poking each other with all sorts of things.
See, when you say the pain that other people inflict, if it's physical, this is what the issue that he's raised now. If your experience is such, if you sit here, that you clearly, experientially know, you clearly know this cup is not me. Similarly, if you know, not because you're thinking about it, simply you know this body is just one more acquisition of mine. You will keep it well, you will use it well, but just because this is not me, I'm not going to break this. I'm going to keep this well because it's useful to me. If this is so, you will see you will be completely free from various things that normally people suffer. Just now, I've been on a 30-day ride across the country. All the other drivers who were driving with me, they have spare drivers. I have no spare driver because I am supposed to drive every kilometer. Daily I'm driving 12 to 16 hours a day. And in these 30 days, I did 142 events. Events like this. And some of them are very large events with 25,000 people. And 186 one-on-one interviews. That means when I'm driving, most of the time, arrangements were made in the car for microphone, camera, everything. Continuously I was talking through the day and night and driving. Driving on Indian roads like that is not easy to do, okay? What is it that keeps you going? It's just that if you have a little space between yourself and your body, suddenly you will see the limitations of the physical does not rule you anymore. So is it easy or difficult to get there? It is not difficult, it's in a different direction. See, right now when you say, where am I, you say, you point the finger here, but actually in your experience it's happening within you. If you were conscious of that, you would clearly understand all experiences within you are created by you, maybe unconsciously, but it is created by you. Everything that happens within you happens because that's the way you're doing it. So this is why in this culture we said, The way you're experiencing your life is your karma. The word karma means it's your doing. Today it's been misinterpreted, they think it's a fate. It is not a fate, it's the most dynamic way to live. When we say your life is your karma, it means your life is your making, 100%.
Why is it then that the majority of the 8 billion people on our planet follow the other path and not this path? If it's not difficult.
You're counting me out, unfortunately, as if I don't exist. See, because people have begun to live in such a way that their involvement with life is very superficial. They're busy making arrangements on the outside. They have not paid enough attention to the life that they are. But if you want to really live well, you must understand the mechanism of what this is, isn't it? Suppose you buy a phone. If you don't read the user's manual, will you be able to use it well? I'm asking, this is the most sophisticated gadget on the planet, isn't it so?
Yes.
Human mechanism. Is there a better technology? This is the technology. Have you read the user's manual? So if you understood the user's manual fully and learn to use it that way, then that's enlightenment in a certain way.
We've got time for one more question, if anyone has something brief that they'd like the opportunity to ask Sadhguru. Anything, yes? I think she's referring to the 188 interviews you did and the 144 events. You don't
See,
look tired.
in this 35 years, my average sleep has been anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours per day. Because right now you check my pulse and see, because I have a cold and things, it's a little up, it's around 52, 54 in that region. But if I'm well and if I sit in one place, it'll settle down to 36, 34 in this range. It's going at ease. If everything is going at ease, then there is no stress of doing something. It's very important that human beings first learn to work upon themselves before they meddle with the world. If this one thing is done, then you will do the right things with the world around you. Because if you do not even know how to treat yourself well, how will you treat other people well? If you don't know how to bring well-being to yourself, how will you bring well-being to other people? It's not going to happen, it's just talk, empty talk. I was in a peace conference, international peace conference. 42 Nobel laureates were there. One after another, belting out long speeches, mostly read from paper, they don't even look up, they're just reading pages and pages. Then when my turn came, I asked, so much talk about world peace. How many of you can genuinely put your hand on your heart and say that you have a peaceful mind? Your mind is peaceful. They were very honest, they said, no, we are not peaceful, but we want the world to be peaceful. See, the world is very peaceful, minus the human beings. World is fantastic, minus the human beings. It's only what is happening in the human mind, a larger manifestation is happening on the street, which is looking ugly. Otherwise, tell me what's wrong with the world. If you and me are not here, the world is just fine, isn't it? So, we do not know how to bring balance to our own self, but we want to do that in the larger world, it'll never happen. We have to understand this. What you see as a world is just a larger version of who we are. If you don't fix this, we can't fix that.
Do you predict that will ever happen? Because we're seeing a more divided… As we realize how small the world is, we're also creating more barriers and divisions.
I'm not somebody who thrives on predictions of any kind. I don't like predictions, because predictions are made from the cold facts of today. predictions don't take into consideration what's beating in the human heart. Human beings are aspiring to do something about themselves like never before. And today, I keep joking with people, I say, see, I'm the greatest guru ever in the history of humanity. They'll look at what happened to Sadhguru, he's becoming Mike Tyson or something. This is because when a Krishna came, when a Buddha came, when so many other great beings came, if they spoke, hardly 50 people could hear them. Today I can sit here and speak to the entire world. This was never before possible thanks to the technologies. So today this is possible. This is also possible that we could make the world meditative, very much possible. And for the first time, we are touching that many number of people as we would have never done before. So is it a possibility? Definitely. Will it happen right now? Not necessarily. But in our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, it's not a problem. In our lives, if we do not do what we can do, we're a disaster. So, it's my wish and my blessing that none of us should become a disaster like that. What we can do must happen. What we cannot do.
On that note, I'd really like to thank you, Sadhguru, for taking the time to speak to us, and despite your cold as well. Thank you so much.